Imagine the cameras flashing, the headlines screaming, and the fans gasping all at once because tonight, the world of love and hip-hop has been rocked in a way no one saw coming. After years of messy entanglements, explosive confrontations, and endless whispers of scandal, Jasmine has finally stepped into the spotlight with a revelation that left everyone speechless. She did not just post another cryptic message on Instagram. She did not just throw shade at her rivals. This time, Jasmine went live and revealed the man by her side, proudly introducing her brand new boyfriend to millions of fans watching in real time. The internet practically broke under the weight of the reactions. Fans are shocked, alliances are shifting, and emotions ran high as the news spread like wildfire. But that is not all. Just when people thought Kirk Frost would hit back with one of his usual denials, excuses, or desperate pleas, he stunned the entire cast and audience by announcing something no one ever expected: his retirement from the drama, from the fights, from the chaos that has defined his name for years. Kirk Frost, the man at the center of scandal after scandal, is walking away, and the timing of his exit, right as Jasmine flaunts her new love, has left the family divided, the fans confused, and the cast scrambling for answers. What really happened behind the scenes? Is Jasmine's new relationship genuine, or is it a power play designed to humiliate Kirk and Rashida once again? Did Kirk step back out of guilt, shame, or pure exhaustion? And most of all, what does this mean for Rashida, who has stood by his side through betrayal after betrayal? The cameras may have stopped rolling for the day, but the drama is far from over. Stay tuned, because this story is just getting started, and the fallout could change everything. The chaos began the very moment Jasmine pressed the Go Live button. Thousands of fans poured into her stream within seconds, expecting the usual sly comments, maybe a jab at Rashida, or some cryptic confession about Kirk. But instead, they were met with something far more explosive. Jasmine leaned into the camera with a calm yet defiant smile, her hand resting on the arm of a man no one had ever seen before. He was tall, sharply dressed, and clearly comfortable in the spotlight. The chat went into meltdown as Jasmine proudly introduced him as her new boyfriend. "This is my piece, my future, my man," she declared, her voice steady despite the flood of shocked emojis racing across the screen. The moment felt unreal, almost staged, but Jasmine's confidence left little room for doubt. Within minutes, blogs picked it up, fan pages were reposting clips, and the entire love and hip-hop community was buzzing louder than ever. Back in Atlanta, Kirk Frost's phone started lighting up like a fire alarm. Texts from producers, calls from cast members, even messages from family. Everyone wanted to know how he felt about Jasmine's bombshell. For a man who had built his reputation on control, secrecy, and scandal, Kirk suddenly looked cornered. Instead of fighting back, he made a decision no one saw coming. When TMZ reached out for his reaction, Kirk didn't deny, didn't deflect. He simply said, "I'm done. I'm stepping back. No more drama." The weight of that sentence rippled through the cast like an earthquake. Rashida froze in the middle of filming at her boutique when she heard the news. "He's what?" she muttered, her voice breaking with disbelief. After years of humiliation, forgiveness, and countless attempts to rebuild, Rashida was left stunned. Fans immediately began speculating, was Kirk truly stepping away from the chaos for her? Or was this his final act of surrender to Jasmine's power play? Jasmine's new man, meanwhile, quickly became a trending topic. Blogs described him as mysterious, a possible businessman with ties outside of Atlanta. Whispers spread that he was younger, richer, and more stable than Kirk, and that Jasmine was flaunting him to prove she had moved far beyond the old scandal that once tied her to Kirk forever. Her live was replayed millions of times, with fans dissecting every glance, every touch, every word. Emotions ran high when K. Michelle chimed in with her infamous bluntness. "Child, this ain't nothing new," she said during her own live. Jasmine been ready to level up, and Kirk been ready to crawl out. But don't get it twisted, this ain't peace. This is war dressed up pretty. Her words lit another fire, drawing Kendra, Young Jock, and even Mendices into the storm. Kendra, ever loyal to Rashida, stood firmly by her side. "This man been embarrassing you for years," she told Rashida during a heated dinner scene, "and now he thinks he can just walk away like nothing happened. Nah, he owes you answers. He owes you more than silence." Rashida sat quietly, her hands trembling around her glass of wine, torn between rage and exhaustion. Meanwhile, Kirk was nowhere to be found on set. For days he stayed hidden, refusing to answer calls, leaving producers scrambling to fill scenes without him. When he finally resurfaced, it wasn't on Love and Hip Hop cameras but on his own Instagram page. In a shaky video filmed from his car, Kirk looked visibly tired. "I can't keep living in this mess," he said. "I want peace. I want to move forward. I don't care about no clout, no stories. I'm done." Fans were shocked. Kirk Frost, the man who had once fought tooth and nail to control the narrative, now waving the white flag. The comments poured in, some praising him for finally letting go, others accusing him of cowardice. "You retiring 'cause she upgraded," one fan wrote. Another added, "Rashida deserved this years ago. Don't try to act noble now." But behind the cameras, things were far from peaceful. Producers saw Kirk's retirement as a threat to the entire season. Without his messy entanglements, the drama risked falling flat. They pushed Jasmine harder, offering her spotlight after spotlight to build around her new romance. Some cast members supported it, while others felt it was a calculated move to edge Rashida further out of relevance. The tension between Rashida and Jasmine boiled over when they crossed paths at a charity event. Jasmine arrived with her boyfriend on her arm, while Rashida walked in alone, holding her head high but clearly shaken. Whispers filled the room as fans and cast watched the two women lock eyes. "You happy now?" Rashida asked under her breath when they brushed shoulders near the stage. Jasmine smirked, replying just loud enough for cameras to catch, "Happier than I've ever been." The crowd gasped. Phones went up, and suddenly it wasn't just a charity event, it was the next viral showdown. Emotions ran high, fans were divided, and Kirk's absence only made the fire burn hotter. Was he really gone from the drama? Or was this just another calculated play to watch the women tear each other apart while he slipped away unnoticed? As the night ended, Rashida drove home in silence, her face illuminated by the glow of her phone as messages poured in. Everyone wanted her reaction, but instead of posting a statement, she logged off, leaving fans even more desperate for answers. Jasmine, on the other hand, posted a picture with her new boyfriend, captioned simply, "My peace, my king." The photo racked up hundreds of thousands of likes within hours, with comments ranging from cheers of support to brutal accusations of clout chasing. The battle lines were redrawn, the cast was divided, and the fans were hooked. Jasmine's reveal was not just a personal announcement, it was a declaration of war. Kirk's retirement wasn't closure, it was fuel to the fire. And with every passing hour, the fallout grew deeper, setting the stage for one of the most explosive seasons love and hip-hop had ever seen. Would Kirk truly walk away, or would the weight of public pressure drag him back into the storm? Would Rashida finally cut ties for good, or would her loyalty once again trap her in the cycle of humiliation? And most of all, was Jasmine's new love real, or just another storyline waiting to unravel? The answers were coming, but one thing was already clear: Atlanta would never be the same again. The fallout from Jasmine's reveal did not settle overnight. In fact, it only grew louder with every sunrise. By the next morning, gossip blogs were already plastered with headlines like "Jasmine wins again" and "Kirk Frost walks away broken." Memes flooded Twitter, painting Kirk as the man who finally bowed out after years of drama. But behind the laughter and hashtags, the reality was darker. Kirk's silence was eating away at him, and Rashida's patience was being tested like never before. Rashida woke up to her boutique group chat buzzing with screenshots of Jasmine's latest post. It was a picture of Jasmine and her new boyfriend, this time sitting in a luxury car, champagne glasses raised, both of them smiling as if they had already conquered the world. The caption read, "Levels." Fans immediately tagged Rashida, flooding her with comments that twisted the knife deeper. "He treating her better than Kirk ever treated you. Rashida, he chose her glow over your grind." Even strangers were piling on, and Rashida's public image was being pulled into the storm once again. When she finally stepped into press at hall, her employees noticed the way she carried herself. Head high, sunglasses on, but her silence was louder than any clapback. "Ms. Rashida, you okay?" one assistant asked gently. She nodded, but her clenched jaw said otherwise. Meanwhile, Jasmine was relishing the attention. During a private sit-down interview for the show, she looked straight into the camera and declared, "For years, people tried to box me in like I was just Kirk's mistake. Well, guess what? I'm not a mistake. I'm a woman who deserves love, and I found it." She didn't mention Kirk by name, but the jab was clear. She wanted the world to know she had moved on, and she wanted Kirk and Rashida to feel the sting. K. Michelle, never one to bite her tongue, weighed in once again. During an appearance on The Breakfast Club, she leaned forward and said, "Look, Kirk retiring from drama. Please? That man been addicted to mess his whole life. He might be quiet now, but you watch he gon' pop back up the minute he feels forgotten." Jasmine ain't stupid. She knows how to keep herself relevant. And Rashida, Lord, I feel for her. But she gotta make a choice. either stand tall without Kirk or forever be in his shadow. Her words went viral instantly, fueling fans to pick sides. By midweek, the cast found themselves thrown together at a production dinner that quickly spiraled out of control. Kirk showed up late, dressed down, looking weary. He slid into his chair and avoided eye contact with Rashida. She, on the other hand, sat rigid, every movement sharp with suppressed anger. Jasmine walked in glowing, her new man trailing behind her, unbothered by the whispers. "So this what we doing now?" Kendra snapped across the table, unable to hold her tongue. "You really gon' parade him around like this, Jasmine?" Jasmine didn't flinch. "Why not? I'm happy. Ain't that what we all claim we want?" Rashida finally spoke, her voice low but steady. "Happy? You call this happy? Using another man to rub salt in old wounds?" Jasmine smirked. "Girl, your wound's been open. Don't blame me 'cause I moved on while you still patching yours." The table erupted, producers scrambling to capture every angle as emotions ran high. Kirk slammed his fist down, startling everyone. "Enough," he shouted. "I said I'm done with this, and I mean it." His eyes darted between Rashida and Jasmine, but instead of defending either side, he simply pushed back from the table and stormed out. Fans were shocked when the scene aired. Some called it cowardice, others saw it as a rare moment of honesty. "For once, Kirk ain't trying to save face," one fan tweeted. "He really tired." But still, his absence left a void that everyone else rushed to fill. Backstage, producers cornered Rashida for a confessional. Her eyes welled up, but she held her ground. "I'm tired too," she admitted. "Tired of the lies, tired of being the strong one, tired of picking up the pieces, but I can't walk away like him. This is my life, my marriage, my business. I don't get to retire from that." Her words resonated deeply with fans, many of whom rallied behind her, praising her strength even as others accused her of clinging to a sinking ship. As for Jasmine, her confidence only grew. She posted a cryptic story later that night showing her boyfriend handing her a velvet box. The video cut off before the box was opened, leaving fans speculating wildly. "Is she engaged?" one fan asked. "Nah, too soon," another replied. But the seed had been planted, and the internet buzzed with theories. Mendeces, watching from afar, chimed in during a casual podcast appearance. "I don't know what Kirk doing, man. If you love your wife, you fight for her. If you don't, you let her go. But this in-between stuff, it just makes him look weak. And Jasmine, she'll know how to play the game. She's playing chess while Kirk's stuck on checkers." The tension finally reached its boiling point at a club appearance scheduled for multiple cast members. Rashida had agreed to host, hoping to focus on her brand. But Jasmine and her boyfriend showed up unannounced, sparking chaos. Fans in the crowd pulled out their phones as Rashida confronted Jasmine near the VIP booth. "You trying to embarrass me?" Rashida demanded, her voice shaking with fury. Jasmine leaned closer, her tone dripping with mock sweetness. "You embarrass yourself every time you take that man back. Don't blame me for your choices." Before anyone could respond, Kirk walked in. The music seemed to stop as everyone turned toward him. His eyes scanned the room, landing on Rashida, then Jasmine, then finally the man at Jasmine's side. Silence stretched, thick and heavy, until Kirk finally muttered, "I really don't belong here no more." With that, he walked out again, leaving both women fuming and the crowd screaming. Fans are shocked. The family was left divided. Emotions ran high as the night spiraled out of control. The club scene went viral within hours, with hashtags like #KirkWalksAway and #JasmineWins trending nationwide. Everyone wanted to know, would Kirk's retreat be permanent, or was he setting the stage for an even bigger comeback? Rashida drove home in tears that night, slamming her phone down as notifications piled up. Jasmine, meanwhile, cuddled up with her boyfriend in the back of a limo, sipping champagne as if nothing could touch her. The contrast was brutal, and the world was watching every second of it. And so, as the season rolled forward, one thing was clear: Kirk might have declared his retirement, but the game had only just begun. The club chaos didn't die down when the lights dimmed and the cameras stopped rolling. Instead, it spilled into the streets of Atlanta and straight onto every gossip blog and fan page imaginable. The footage of Kirk walking away again, head bowed, hands in his pockets, refusing to defend Rashida or clap back at Jasmine, was replayed a million times before dawn. Fans were divided down the middle. Some saw Kirk as a man finally exhausted by years of scandal, while others branded him a coward hiding from the mess he created. The family was left divided, and emotions ran high long after the music faded. Rashida sat in her car outside the club long after everyone else had gone home. She scrolled through her phone, watching clips of herself confronting Jasmine, seeing her own anger play back in front of her eyes. Why do I let her get to me? She whispered, her voice cracking. But the truth was simple. Jasmine wasn't just a woman from Kirk's past. She was a living reminder of every betrayal, every late-night argument, every tear Rashida had ever shed for this marriage. Jasmine, on the other hand, was thriving. The very next morning, she posted a polished reel on Instagram showing her and her boyfriend enjoying a rooftop brunch. Atlanta skyline in the background, designer shades covering their eyes, and a caption that read, "Unbothered, blessed, unstoppable." Fans went wild, some cheering her globe, others blasting her for poking at Rashida's pain. "This ain't love. This revenge." One comment read. Another fired back, "Revenge or not, at least she happy." Can't say the same for Rashida. By mid-afternoon, producers called an emergency meeting with the cast. Kirk arrived late as usual, slumped in his chair, avoiding everyone's gaze. Rashida sat across from him, her silence heavier than any words. Jasmine arrived last, hand in hand with her new man, sparking whispers across the room. The producer's voice cut through the tension. "Look, this season's story is exploding online. Fans are hooked, but we need clarity. Kirk, are you really retiring from the drama? Or is this just another act?" Kirk rubbed his face, sighing deeply. "I meant what I said. I'm tired. I don't want this life no more." Rashida snapped, her composure finally breaking. "You don't get to just walk away, Kirk. You created this chaos, you dragged me through hell, and now you think you can just bow out. Nah, you owe me. You owe our family. You owe every single person you hurt." The room fell silent. Jasmine smirked, leaning back in her chair. "Sounds like somebody's mad." Their storyline walked out the door. Her boyfriend chuckled under his breath, only fueling Rashida's rage. "Say that again," Rashida hissed, slamming her hands on the table. Jasmine leaned forward. "I said, without Kirk, you got nothing. So maybe you should be thanking me for keeping the spotlight alive." The eruption was instant. Chairs scraped, voices clashed, and security rushed in to separate the women before fists could fly. Producers captured every second, knowing this would be gold for the season. Later that night, Kirk retreated to his car once again, turning on his camera for another live. "Y'all think this funny, but I'm serious," he said, his voice weary. "I'm not here to fight, not here to argue. I just want peace. Let them do what they do. I'm out." Fans flooded the comments, some begging him to fight for Rashida, others mocking him for quitting when things got tough. Meanwhile, Rashida retreated to her mother's house for comfort. Sitting at the kitchen table, she finally let her guard down. "Ma, I don't know how much more of this I can take. I've held it together for years, but watching him walk away like I'm nothing, watching her flaunt another man like she won some prize, it's breaking me." Her mother placed a hand on hers, whispering, "Baby, maybe it's time you stop fighting for him and start fighting for you." The fans were shocked when word leaked that Rashida had quietly started moving some of her finances into her own name. Whispers of divorce swirled, blogs speculated endlessly, and even K. Michelle chimed in again. If she leaves, she go on a rise like never before. If she stays, she go on drown with him. That's just the truth. But Jasmine wasn't content with her victory just yet. She doubled down, dropping another live with her boyfriend, this time teasing fans with a cryptic comment. "This man gives me everything I never had before. Stability, loyalty, love." She let the word loyalty linger, twisting the knife deeper. The internet exploded again, fans tagging Rashida relentlessly, forcing her pain into the spotlight. Still, not everyone was cheering Jasmine on. Some fans began questioning her motives, accusing her of using the new relationship as a weapon. "You ain't over Kirk. You obsessed." One comment read, "If you really moved on, why you still talking?" The criticism stung, but Jasmine brushed it off, posting, "Stay mad. My life's still better than yours." As tensions built, producers planned the next major gathering, a rooftop event meant to bring everyone together. But whispers spread quickly Jasmine planned to debut something shocking. Fans speculated it might be an engagement, others thought it could be a pregnancy reveal. The cast buzzed with anticipation, nerves stretched thin as they prepared for another showdown. Rashida sat at her vanity mirror that evening, staring at her reflection. "How much longer can I do this?" she whispered. She thought of the years she had stood by Kirk, the loyalty she had poured into a marriage that gave her nothing but pain. And then she thought of Jasmine, smiling in every photo, seemingly glowing with new love. Bitterness and heartbreak twisted inside her, and for the first time, she admitted the truth to herself. Maybe Jasmine had already won. The rooftop night arrived with flashing lights and swarming cameras. Jasmine appeared first, dazzling in a gold dress, her boyfriend on her arm once again. Rashida followed minutes later, looking radiant but guarded. Kirk showed up late, of course, his expression unreadable as he joined the chaos. As the night wore on, Jasmine took the microphone, her voice ringing over the crowd. I told y'all I was done being someone's shadow. Tonight, I step into my own light. With that, her boyfriend pulled out the velvet box from his pocket and dropped to one knee. The crowd screamed. Cameras zoomed. Fans gasped. Was Jasmine really about to get engaged in front of everyone? Rashida's eyes filled with tears as she whispered, "This can't be happening." Kirk froze in his seat, his so-called retirement from drama shattered in a single, devastating moment. And just like that, the storm hit harder than ever before. The rooftop froze in time the second Jasmine's boyfriend bent down on one knee. The air was thick with tension. Fans screamed into their phones. And cast members pushed closer, desperate to capture the moment. The velvet box sat in his hand, unopened, glowing under the rooftop lights like a bomb about to go off. Everyone knew whatever happened next would change the entire dynamic of Atlanta forever. Rashida's face went pale as tears welled up in her eyes. She wasn't just watching Jasmine flaunt a new relationship. She was watching her rival step into a spotlight she had fought to hold for years. "Don't do this," she whispered under her breath, but Jasmine caught it. She leaned into the microphone with a sly smile and said, "Oh, I'm doing this. I deserve this." The boyfriend opened the box. Inside sat a massive diamond ring that caught the light and threw sparks across the crowd. Gasps echoed from every corner of the rooftop. "Jasmine Washington," he said, voice steady, despite the chaos. "You've been my peace, my inspiration, my queen. Will you marry me?" The crowd erupted. Some screamed in joy, others booed, but the noise was deafening. Jasmine covered her mouth dramatically, tears sliding down her cheeks as she nodded. "Yes," she said loudly, her voice trembling with excitement. "Yes, 1,000 times yes." He slipped the ring on her finger, and just like that, Jasmine's engagement was official. Fans online were stunned. Jasmine engaged. No way, she really won. She really won. Hashtags like #Jasmine engaged and #RASHEED, a lost shot to the top of trending lists within minutes. The internet didn't sleep that night, dissecting every angle, every facial expression, every whisper caught by the cameras. But the real story wasn't just the proposal, it was the fallout. Kirk sat frozen in his chair, eyes locked on the ring as if it were a dagger aimed straight at him. After years of entanglement, scandal, and betrayal, Jasmine had officially closed the chapter that tied her to him. And instead of fighting back, he sat still, silent, his so-called retirement from drama now looking like defeat. Rashida couldn't hold back. She stormed toward Jasmine, security moving fast to block her path. "You planned this," she shouted over the crowd. "You did this just to humiliate me, just to break me down." Jasmine didn't flinch. Holding up her hand to show off the ring, she smirked. "No, Rashida. I did this because I moved on. Maybe you should try it sometime." Emotions ran high, the family was left divided, and fans were shocked by Rashida's raw pain. She broke down in tears as Kendra pulled her aside, whispering, "You can't let her see you like this. You're stronger than her." But Rashida shook her head, whispering back, "She already won." Meanwhile, backstage, producers were in a frenzy. This was gold, bigger than anything they could have scripted. One whispered into his headset, "We just secured the season finale tonight. This is it, this is the story." But not everyone was celebrating. Mendices watched from the sidelines, shaking his head. "This ain't love," he muttered to Yandy. "This is strategy. Jasmine playing chess, and everyone else just pawns." Yandy nodded slowly, and Kirky just walked himself right off the board. Later that night, Kirk finally broke his silence. Live on Instagram again, he appeared in his car, face shadowed by streetlights. His voice was low, heavy. "Y'all think I'm weak for walking away, but I'm done being dragged into her games. She got her man, she got her ring, good for her. But me, I'm retired. I'm done with all of it." The comments section blew up, some praising him for letting go, others accusing him of running away from responsibility. "You retired 'cause you lost," one comment read. "Stop acting like it's noble." Another added, "Finally, you letting Rashida breathe. Now let her go." 2. Rashida, however, was far from free. In her confessional the next day, she looked broken but determined. "I can't keep living like this," she admitted, her voice trembling. I built my whole life on loyalty, but loyalty ain't enough when the man you love keeps walking away. Maybe it's time I start walking too. Fans erupted again. Was Rashida hinting at divorce? Whispers flew across Atlanta, with blogs posting unconfirmed reports that she had already moved her finances into her own name. Speculation swirled. Was this the end of Rashida and Kirk's decades-long marriage? Jasmine, meanwhile, basked in the glow of her engagement. She threw a lavish celebration dinner, inviting friends, influencers, and even a few cast members bold enough to attend. She flaunted her ring at every angle, sipping champagne and declaring, "This is the start of my real life. No more drama, no more lies, no more settling. I'm finally getting what I deserve." But not everyone believed her fairy tale. Rumors surfaced that Jasmine's fiancé had his own skeletons in the closet. Business deals gone wrong. An ex-girlfriend claiming he wasn't who he appeared to be. Whispers grew louder, threatening to crack the perfect image Jasmine was projecting. The irony wasn't lost on fans. She really turned into Kirk too. One tweet read, "Be careful what you wish for, Jasmine." Back in her boutique, Rashida packed away clothes in silence, ignoring the buzzing of her phone. Kendra stood nearby, watching her friend struggle. "You don't have to go through this alone," Kendra said softly. Rashida finally looked up, her eyes red. "I know, but I'm tired of being strong for everybody else. I need to be strong for me now." The stage was set for a new war. Jasmine had her ring, Kirk had his so-called retirement, and Rashida was standing at a crossroads she could no longer avoid. Fans were divided, emotions were raw, and Atlanta was bracing for the next explosion. Because if there's one thing everyone knew by now, it's that in love and hip-hop, peace never lasts for long. The engagement celebration was supposed to be Jasmine's victory lap, her crowning moment after years of being cast as the villain. She rented out one of Atlanta's most expensive rooftop lounges, lined it with gold balloons, roses, and banners that read "Forever Starts Now." Influencers and local celebs poured in, snapping selfies under neon lights, sipping champagne from crystal flutes, and whispering about the drama that had unfolded on live TV. Every corner of the room buzzed with speculation, and yet Jasmine stood tall, dazzling in a sparkling dress, her ring catching every flash of every camera. But behind the glamour, cracks were already forming. While Jasmine's fiancé smiled for pictures and toasted the night away, whispers swirled about his past. Bloggers had already begun digging, and within hours of the rooftop proposal, stories surfaced claiming he had an ex-fiancée in Miami, another woman in Houston, and financial troubles that could rival Kirk's old scandals. Though nothing was confirmed, the rumors clung to the celebration like smoke, threatening to choke out the fairy tale glow. Rashida, of course, heard every whisper. She sat at home that night, scrolling through her phone, unable to escape the flood of images from Jasmine's engagement party. Her screen was filled with Jasmine's glowing smile, her sparkling ring, her captions dripping with triumph. Every photo was like a dagger. She tossed her phone aside and stared into the dark. "How much more humiliation can I take?" she muttered. Kendra, who had been by her side all week, tried to pull her out of the spiral. "Listen, you can't compare yourself to her. Her happiness might not even be real. It's all smoke and mirrors for the cameras. You gotta focus on you." But Rashida wasn't convinced. "She's winning, Kendra. Whether it's fake or not, the world sees her winning. And me, I'm still stuck cleaning up Kirk's mess." The next day, Kirk appeared at the Frost Bistro, quietly walking through the doors like nothing had happened. The employees froze, unsure of how to react. Rashida came out from the back, her face stone cold. "What are you doing here?" she asked, crossing her arms. Kirk sighed, running a hand over his face. "This is still my place to—" "No, Kirk," Rashida shot back. "This is mine. I built this. I kept it running while you were busy chasing drama. Don't come back now acting like you care." Their voices grew louder, the argument spilling into the restaurant as customers watched awkwardly. Kirk finally raised his hands in defeat. "I told you, I'm done with the drama. I just want peace." "Peace?" Rashida laughed bitterly. "You don't get to walk away and call it peace. You're running? Kirk, running from me, from your kids, from the mess you created. You call that peace. I call it cowardice." The confrontation went viral the moment footage leaked online. Fans were shocked, emotions ran high, and the family was left even more divided. "Rashida deserves better," fans tweeted. "Kirk retiring from drama is just code for abandoning his responsibilities." Others, however, sympathized with him. "Man's exhausted. Let him go. Rashida needs to stop holding on." As if the storm wasn't strong enough, Jasmine fanned the flames by posting a picture the very next day of her fiancé kissing her hand as the ring sparkled. The caption read, "No stress, no mess, just love." Fans immediately tagged Rashida, turning Jasmine's happiness into Rashida's public humiliation. Michelle, never one to miss a chance to stir the pot, jumped into the conversation during another live. "Let me tell y'all something, ain't nothing real about Atlanta love stories. Jasmine might think she got her happy ending, but trust me, skeletons gon' dance out that man's closet sooner than later." And Kirk, please, man retiring like it's a career when all he's been doing is embarrassing his wife. Rashida need to wake up, take her crown, and move on, period. By now, producers knew they had struck gold. They leaned hard into the rumors about Jasmine's fiancés, arranging scenes where cast members confronted her with questions. During a lunch meetup with Kendra and Yandi, Jasmine's patience wore thin. "So, what's this I hear about your man having another woman in Houston?" Yandi asked carefully, sipping her drink. Jasmine rolled her eyes. "Girl, please, y'all believe every rumor on the blogs. My man is solid. He's not Kirk. He's loyal." Kendra smirked. "You sure about that? 'Cause loyalty don't come with hashtags, it comes with proof." Jasmine's temper flared. "Why you so obsessed with me? Kendra, you and Rashida both. Maybe if y'all worried less about my business and more about your own, you wouldn't be stuck cleaning up Kirk's mess all the time." The argument escalated until Jasmine stormed out, cameras chasing her into the parking lot as she shouted into her phone. "They jealous, that's all it is, jealous." Meanwhile, Kirk disappeared again. Days passed with no word from him, no appearances, no posts. Fans speculated he had left Atlanta altogether, some claiming he was hiding out in Florida. Others convinced he was secretly plotting a comeback. But Rashida's silence was louder. She stopped defending him, stopped posting about their marriage, and started hinting at independence. In one powerful confessional, she looked straight into the camera and said, "I've been loyal for too long. I've stood by him while the world laughed at me. Maybe it's time the world sees me standing on my own." Fans erupted with support, flooding her comments with encouragement. "Leave him, queen. You don't need Kirk. Stand alone, shine brighter." Jasmine, however, wasn't done twisting the knife. At her engagement dinner, she raised a toast to her new life, saying, "I'm done being anyone's storyline. I'm writing my own now." The cameras captured her fiancé nodding proudly, but just as the glasses clinked, his phone buzzed. He glanced down, his smile fading for a split second before he tucked the phone away. It was small, almost unnoticeable, but producers caught it. Fans would later zoom in, freeze frame, and ask the obvious question, who was messaging him in the middle of his fiancé's big moment? Rumors spiraled faster than ever. Fans accused him of being unfaithful. Ex-girlfriends began hinting on social media, and the blogs went into overdrive. Jasmine clapped back online, posting, "Y'all stay pressed. My man's solid. Keep wishing on my downfall." But her voice on the live was shaky, her eyes darting nervously. Rashida, watching from the sidelines, almost felt pity. "She thinks she won," she whispered to Kendra one night. "But if those rumors are true, she about to learn the same lesson I did. Men like that don't change. They just change the woman they embarrass." As the season edged toward its climax, Atlanta was split down the middle. Team Jasmine celebrated her engagement, flaunting the ring as proof she had leveled up. Team Rashida stood behind her resilience, urging her to cut ties and finally claim her independence. And Kirk, he drifted further and further into silence, his so-called retirement leaving a shadow over every scene. But in love and hip-hop, silence never lasts. Kirk's reappearance was inevitable, and when it came, it would shake the entire cast to the core. The city of Atlanta had settled into a strange rhythm. Jasmine flaunting her engagement like a crown, Rashida balancing on the edge of heartbreak and independence, and Kirk fading deeper into silence. Fans thought maybe this was it. Kirk had finally disappeared for good, retired from the very chaos he once thrived on. But Atlanta has a way of pulling people back into the storm, and Kirk's silence was only the calm before the next explosion. It all began when a blurry video surfaced online. Someone caught Kirk at a lounge in Miami, sitting alone with a drink in hand, looking defeated. The caption read, "Retired or just hiding." The clip spread like wildfire, reigniting speculation. Had Kirk truly walked away, or was he quietly plotting his next move? The video shook fans who had started to accept his absence. Emotions ran high, comments poured in, and the family was once again left divided. Rashida saw the clip late at night, sitting in her bedroom with the lights off. She pressed play over and over, staring at the man who had broken her heart yet still carried pieces of it. "You can't stay away," can you? She whispered to herself. Her phone buzzed with messages from producers, begging for her reaction, but she ignored them. For the first time in years, she didn't want to play the game. She just wanted answers. Meanwhile, Jasmine was preparing for her first big magazine shoot as an engaged woman. Stylists buzzed around her, photographers clicked endlessly, and her fiancé posed beside her as though they were the next power couple. But behind the scenes, cracks deepened. He had grown distant, always on his phone, always slipping away with excuses. Jasmine noticed, but pride kept her from confronting him. She couldn't let the world see her lose again, not after flaunting her victory for months. The breaking point came during a cast reunion dinner arranged by producers. It was meant to be a chance for everyone to air out grievances, but from the start, the tension was electric. Rashida arrived first, poised but clearly guarded. Kirk followed, moments later, surprising everyone. Whispers filled the room as cast members pulled out their phones to capture his reappearance. So retirement didn't last long, huh? Mendices muttered, leaning back in his chair. Kirk exhaled, looking around the table. I ain't here for drama. I'm here to clear the air. Everybody got something to say about me, but none of y'all know the whole story. Before he could continue, Jasmine walked in with her fiancé, the sparkle of her ring catching the light. The room froze. Rashida's jaw tightened, Kirk's fists clenched, and Jasmine smirked as though she had already won. You really brought him here, Rashida snapped. Why wouldn't I? Jasmine replied coolly. He's part of my life now. Unlike some people, I don't hide behind excuses. The table erupted into shouting, accusations flying back and forth. Michelle slammed her hand on the table. Enough. Y'all turning this into a circus? Jasmine, you got your man. Good for you. Kirk, you retiring. Fine. Rashida, you still here fighting for respect? But let's not pretend any of this is about love anymore. It's about who wins. Silence followed her outburst, the truth sinking in. The cameras captured every face: Rashida's pain, Jasmine's defiance, Kirk's exhaustion. It was raw, messy, and impossible to look away. After the dinner, Kirk finally pulled Rashida aside. Look, I know I hurt you. I know I let you down more times than I can count, but I can't keep living like this. The drama, the fighting, the humiliation, it's killing me. Rashida's eyes filled with tears. You think it's only killing you? What about me, Kirk? What about the years I stood by you while the world laughed at me? You walk away now and call it retirement, but for me, there's no walking away. I live with this every day. Kirk's voice cracked. Then maybe the best thing I can do for you is leave for good. Meanwhile, Jasmine's facade began to crumble. Her fiancé had slipped away during the dinner, his phone buzzing nonstop. When she confronted him later, he brushed her off. Just business, he muttered, avoiding her eyes. Jasmine's gut told her otherwise, but pride silenced her questions. Instead, she doubled down on social media, posting, "Real queens don't compete, they reign." Fans noticed the strain though. She looks happy, but her eyes don't. One comment read. The climax came during the reunion special taping. The entire cast sat under the blinding studio lights, ready to rehash the season's chaos. Rashida looked stunning but serious, Jasmine dazzling but tense, Kirk stoic and quiet. The host wasted no time diving in. Jasmine, your engagement has been the talk of the season, but rumors about your fiancés have surfaced. Care to address them? Jasmine's smile faltered. People will always talk. They said the same about me and Kirk years ago. My relationship is solid. The host pressed harder. What about the woman in Houston claiming she's still with him? Gasps echoed across the stage. Jasmine's eyes widened, her fiancé shifting uncomfortably in his seat. Rashida couldn't hide her smirk. Karma, she whispered. The fiancé stood abruptly, removing his mic. I don't have to sit here and defend myself to a bunch of clout chasers. With that, he stormed off stage, leaving Jasmine frozen in place. Fans were shocked. The family was divided, and emotions ran high as the cameras zoomed in on Jasmine's trembling hands. Tears welled up, but she forced a smile. He'll be back, she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Rashida leaned forward, her voice sharp but calm. Now you know how it feels. The crowd erupted, half cheering, half booing. Jasmine broke down, covering her face as the lights burned brighter. Kirk, for once, stayed silent. He simply leaned back, watching the chaos unfold. His retirement might have been mocked, but in that moment, he looked almost at peace, like a man who had finally stepped out of the fire and let someone else burn. As the reunion wrapped, one thing was clear. The war wasn't over. Jasmine's engagement hung by a thread. Rashida stood closer than ever to independence, and Kirk's silence was as loud as any scandal he had ever created. Fans left the taping with questions. Would Jasmine's fiancé return? Or had she been played? Would Rashida finally cut Kirk loose? Or would loyalty trap her once again? And most of all, was Kirk's retirement real? Or was he just waiting for the perfect moment to re-enter the game? Atlanta buzzed with speculation. Hashtags exploded. Emotions stayed high. And the legacy of love in hip-hop remained messy, dramatic, and utterly addictive. The reunion fallout didn't end when the cameras stopped rolling. If anything, it only cracked the door wider for more chaos to spill through. Jasmine's fiancé storming out left her humiliated in front of millions. Rashida's sharp words still echoed in her ears. And Kirk's calm silence suddenly looked like the most powerful move of the night. Fans were shocked. The family was left divided, and emotions ran higher than they ever had before. Within hours, blogs ran headlines like Jasmine abandoned on stage and Kirk Frost finally wins by saying nothing. The irony was thick after years of scandal and betrayal. Kirk's retirement from drama was now being celebrated as wisdom, while Jasmine's flashy engagement began to look like another messy storyline collapsing in real time. Rashida, on the other hand, walked out of the reunion taping with her head high. For once, she wasn't the one being humiliated, and that small taste of vindication gave her strength. But as she sat in her car later that night, staring at the city lights, the heaviness returned. She wasn't free yet. Kirk was still tied to her by marriage, by business, by years of shared history. And no matter how strong she appeared on stage, inside she still carried scars so deep that no amount of public sympathy could heal them. Meanwhile, Jasmine retreated into silence for days after the reunion aired. She avoided lives, ignored comments, and posted only a single cryptic photo, her engagement ring sitting on a bathroom counter, captioned, "Nothing stays perfect forever." The internet erupted with speculation. Had her fiancé left her for good? Was the engagement off? Fans dissected every detail, zooming into the photo, pointing out that the ring wasn't on her finger anymore. She lost before the wedding. One fan tweeted, "Karma's undefeated." Behind the scenes, producers scrambled. Jasmine's story had carried the season, but if her engagement crumbled completely, where would the drama go? They arranged a sit-down between Jasmine and her fiancé, hoping to salvage the storyline. Cameras rolled as Jasmine confronted him in a quiet cafe. "You embarrassed me," she said, her voice trembling but sharp. "You walked out on me in front of the whole world." He leaned back, arms crossed. "I'm not built for this circus. I thought I could handle it, but I can't." "So what? You're just gonna leave?" she snapped. "After all this, after putting a ring on my finger." His silence was deafening. The cameras zoomed in on Jasmine's tear-streaked face, capturing the exact moment her fairy tale cracked. Rashida watched the episode weeks later in her boutique, shaking her head. She thought she was different, she whispered. But men like that, they don't change. They just change the woman they embarrass. Her employees exchanged nervous glances, knowing their boss was speaking from experience. As Jasmine's engagement unraveled, Kirk's silence became its own weapon. He rarely appeared, rarely spoke, but every time he did, fans hung on his words. One night, he finally went live again, speaking directly into his phone with tired eyes. "Y'all keep asking me why I'm so quiet. Truth is, I don't got nothing to prove anymore. Jasmine can have her man, Rashida can have her peace, and me. I just want to fade out. I'm done." The live sent shockwaves through the fanbase. Some praised him for finally letting go, others mocked him for quitting when things got hard. But the bigger twist came hours later, when a mysterious account dropped alleged receipt screenshots showing Jasmine's fiancé messaging another woman, promising trips, money, and love. The receipts exploded online, tearing apart the last shreds of Jasmine's perfect engagement. By morning, hashtags like #Jasmine played and #NotAgain dominated social media. Fans were merciless. "She really turned into Rashida too." One wrote. "Karma hit faster than ever." Jasmine tried to fight back, posting a long caption defending her fiancé. "No relationship is perfect. Y'all want me to fail, but I won't. We still solid." But the tone felt defensive, the words shaky, and fans weren't convinced. Her credibility, once weaponized against Rashida, now crumbled beneath her own mistakes. The family was divided even more sharply. Kendra stood by Rashida, pushing her to separate from Kirk once and for all. "You see now, right?" she said one night as they sipped wine together. "Jasmine ain't your enemy. She's just walking the same path you did. The real enemy is these men who play games with our lives." Rashida nodded slowly. "You right, but it's not just about the men. It's about us, too. How long we let ourselves stay in their shadow." For the first time, Rashida considered divorce not as failure, but as freedom. Whispers spread quickly, lawyers spotted near her boutique. Paperwork rumors swirling. Fans speculated endlessly. If Rashida divorces Kirk, that's the real plot twist of the season. One post read. Jasmine, meanwhile, clung to her engagement even as it collapsed around her. During one tense scene, she admitted in confessional, "I can't let them see me fail again. If this ends, I'll look like the fool. And I'd rather die than give Rashida that satisfaction." The desperation in her eyes told the truth her words couldn't hide. The season's final gathering was set at a lavish mansion party. Every cast member arrived in black tie attire, producers promising a night of closure. The cameras followed Jasmine, her ring still on her finger despite the rumors. They followed Rashida, radiant but solemn, walking in alone. And finally, Kirk arriving late, dressed in black, his silence heavier than the music thumping through the mansion. The night built to a breaking point when Jasmine and Rashida stood face to face, once again. The crowd hushed, cameras zoomed, and the air felt electric. "You thought you won," Rashida said calmly, her eyes locked on Jasmine's. "But look at you. You sitting in the same seat I sat in for years?" Lead 2, embarrassed, left out in the cold. "Tell me, Jasmine, does it feel like winning?" Jasmine's lip quivered, her pride battling with her pain. She lifted her hand, flashing the ring. "I still got this." Rashida smirked. "Rings don't mean loyalty. They just mean somebody had money for jewelry." The room erupted with gasps, shouts, and applause. Jasmine's face crumbled, tears streaming as she stormed out of the mansion, cameras chasing her into the night. Kirk stood in the corner, watching it all unfold. For once, he didn't chase after either woman. He just stood still, his silence speaking louder than any words. And in that moment, fans realized his retirement wasn't weakness, it was survival. The episode ended with Rashida driving away in her car, her confessional voiceover closing the season. "I spent years fighting for a man who never fought for me, but now, I'm done fighting. This next chapter, it's mine." And with Jasmine's engagement in shambles, Kirk's silence hanging heavy, and Rashida stepping into her own power, the future of Atlanta was left wide open, messy, dramatic, and ready for another storm. Atlanta was buzzing after the mansion party. Social media couldn't stop replaying Rashida's calm but devastating line. "Rings don't mean loyalty. They just mean somebody had money for jewelry." It was clipped, remixed, and turned into a viral sound within hours. Fans across the internet used it in videos, memes, and even dance trends. Rashida, once mocked for standing by Kirk through scandal after scandal, was suddenly trending as the woman who finally spoke the truth. Jasmine, meanwhile, was spiraling. Her mansion exit had been dramatic, tears yelling, the cameras chasing her into the night, but what happened after was worse. She locked herself in her car, scrolling through comments as fans dissected her downfall in real time. She thought she won, one tweet read, but now she just another storyline gone wrong. Others were even harsher. Karma collected fast. She played with Rashida's pain, and got played the same way. Every word cut deep, but Jasmine refused to let go of her pride. She went live, tears streaking her face, ring still on her finger. "Y'all want me to hurt, but I'm not hurting," she insisted, her voice cracking. "My man is still my man, no matter what the blogs say." And Rashida, she can keep talking, but she'll always be the one begging for scraps from Kirk. "I'll never be her." The live only made things worse. Fans weren't convinced. Sis crying with mascara running, but telling us she not hurting. One viewer commented, "Girl, blink twice if you need help." Others compared her to Rashida directly, pointing out that Jasmine was now fighting for a man who didn't even show up to defend her. Kirk, on the other hand, remained silent. His absence spoke volumes. Every time Jasmine or Rashida made headlines, Kirk's name trended anyway. Memes painted him as the true winner, retiring from drama while the women tore each other apart. But behind closed doors, Kirk wasn't celebrating. He sat in his house, the quiet pressing down on him like a weight. No cameras, no shouting, no chaos, just silence. For a man who had lived off drama for years, peace felt almost unbearable. Rashida, though, began to thrive. Freed from constantly defending Kirk, she poured herself into her businesses. Press Étal flourished, her boutique drew more customers, and her fans rallied behind her with a loyalty she hadn't felt in years. "We stan a queen who finally chose herself," read one viral comment. Rashida glowed up the second she stopped carrying Kirk's baggage. The praise gave her strength, though deep down, she still wrestled with decades of pain that couldn't be erased overnight. The producers, hungry to keep the fire burning, arranged one last explosive sit-down, Jasmine and Rashida face-to-face, with Kirk invited to join. The goal was closure, But everyone knew closure wasn't possible and Atlanta was just another stage for war. The women sat across from each other, tension so thick it felt like the walls might crack. Rashida wore calm like armor, while Jasmine's eyes burned with rage and desperation. The host asked the question on everyone's mind. Rashida, do you believe Jasmine is truly happy in her engagement? Rashida smirked. Happiness doesn't need defending. If you gotta keep proving it, then maybe it's not real. Jasmine slammed her hands on the table. You don't know me. You don't know what I got. You've been stuck with Kirk for 20 years of misery, and you want to talk about me? Rashida leaned forward, her voice low but sharp. I do know you, Jasmine, because I was you. And let me tell you something, when the man you love spends more time proving himself to other women than to you, that's not love. That's humiliation dressed up as loyalty. The crowd gasped, emotions ran high, and fans were shocked as Jasmine broke down again, the ring on her finger suddenly looking more like a chain than a prize. Just then, Kirk walked in. The room went silent. All eyes turned to him, waiting for a reaction. He sat down slowly, his face tired, his voice quiet. I told y'all, I'm done with this. But watching y'all tear each other apart, it hurts. Because at the end of the day, I hurt both of you. Jasmine, I gave you false promises. Rashida, I broke your heart 1,000 times. And now, I don't even recognize myself anymore. Rashida's eyes filled with tears. Jasmine looked stunned. For the first time, Kirk wasn't defensive, wasn't manipulative, he was vulnerable. So what now? The host pressed. Kirk exhaled. Now, I walk away for real. Not just from the drama, but from both of them. Y'all deserve peace. And maybe the only way you'll get it is without me in the picture. Gasps rippled through the room. Fans watching at home couldn't believe it. Is Kirk really owning up? One tweet read, first time I ever seen him humble. Others doubted him. Nah, give it a week. He'll be back. Rashida whispered, almost to herself. Maybe that's the closure I needed. Jasmine, however, couldn't accept it. You don't get to just walk away again. You don't get to leave me looking like a fool while you play the nobleman. Her voice cracked, tears streaming. Kirk looked at her with sad eyes. Jasmine, I already left when I promised you a life I couldn't give. This is just me admitting it. The sit-down ended in chaos. Jasmine stormed out, ripping off her mic, while Rashida sat quietly, tears slipping down her cheeks. Kirk stayed behind for once, his shoulders slumped as though the weight of years had finally crashed down on him. Afterward, the internet exploded. Clips of Kirk's confession trended everywhere. Fans debated endlessly. Kirk finally telling the truth. Rashida won by walking away. Jasmine embarrassed again. Hashtags like hashtag the final frost and hashtag karma ATL dominated timelines. In the weeks that followed, Jasmine disappeared from the spotlight. Rumors swirled that her engagement was officially over, though she never confirmed it. She posted only one photo, her hand, bare without the ring, captioned, Rebirth. Fans were divided, some mocked her, others empathized, seeing her as another woman broken by the same cycle. Rashida, on the other hand, thrived. She launched a new clothing line, filmed commercials, and leaned fully into her independence. Every interview she gave carried the same message. I choose me now. The glow was undeniable, and fans crowned her the true queen of Atlanta. As for Kirk, his silence remained. No posts, no lives, no appearances. Whether his retirement was real or just another act, no one knew. But the absence itself became legendary. Sometimes silence is the loudest answer, one fan tweeted, echoing the sentiment of thousands. Atlanta had been torn apart by love, betrayal, pride, and revenge. But in the wreckage, something new had formed. Rashida's rise, Jasmine's reckoning, and Kirk's retreat. The storm had passed, but the scars it left would never fade. And fans knew, deep down, that peace in this world was always temporary, because in love and hip-hop, the next explosion was always just one secret away. The dust from Kirk's so-called final retirement should have settled. Atlanta should have gone quiet. But love in hip-hop never dies down. Every whisper becomes an echo, and every echo turns into a storm. Just when fans thought they had seen the last of this tangled triangle, the city found itself caught in another round of chaos that blurred the lines between closure and fresh wounds. Rashida's glow-up continued to dominate headlines. Magazines praised her for finding herself again, branding her the face of resilience. She posed in photo shoots, gave interviews about independence, and spoke openly about choosing herself after decades of loyalty to Kirk. I've carried a burden for years, she told one outlet. Now I'm carrying my own crown. Fans rallied behind her, flooding her comments with encouragement. Hashtag Queen Rashida trended for weeks. Yet, behind the strength, Rashida wrestled with conflicting emotions. Late at night, when the cameras were gone and the boutique lights dimmed, she replayed Kirk's confession in her mind. His tired eyes, his broken tone, the way he admitted, "I already left when I promised you a life I couldn't give." Those words carved deep. Part of her wanted to believe he was sincere. Another part knew sincerity couldn't erase years of betrayal. Still, the silence he left behind haunted her more than the chaos ever did. Jasmine, meanwhile, tried to rebuild her shattered image. She vanished from social media for weeks, then reappeared with a carefully curated rebrand. Gone were the flashy rings and champagne posts. In their place, soft portraits of her with inspirational captions. "Sometimes you have to lose to find yourself. And pain is just another word for growth." But fans weren't convinced. "Girl, you was just flexing a ring 3 weeks ago," one comment read. Others were harsher. "Stop playing victim." You laughed at Rashida's pain and got the same treatment. Still, Jasmine refused to fold. Producers invited her back for a solo confessional, hoping to capture her side of the story. She sat under the bright lights, eyes glassy but voice firm. "Everybody loves to see Jasmine fall," she said, staring into the camera. "But what they forget is I always get back up. I don't need Kirk. I don't need a ring. I don't need validation from anybody. I'll rise, just like I always do." Her words were powerful, but fans debated if they were real or just another mask to cover the cracks. Then came the leak that reignited everything. A blog dropped alleged footage from Kirk's phone, showing old texts between him and Jasmine during the early days of her engagement. The messages hinted that Kirk had tried to reach out, even as he claimed retirement. "Just checking on you," one message read. Another, "You know I'll always care, no matter what." The internet exploded. Had Kirk truly walked away, or was he still tethered to Jasmine behind closed doors? Rashida's name immediately trended again, fans demanding her reaction. "Queen, don't let him back in," one supporter begged. Others mocked her pain. "No matter how much she glows, Kirk always finds a way to dim it." Rashida kept her silence for 2 days, then finally broke it in a fiery live. Sitting in her boutique office, she looked directly into the camera. "I don't care what messages leak. I don't care what lies get spread. I know my worth now. And if Kirk wants to keep playing games in the shadows, he can. But not with me. Not anymore." The live racked up millions of views, cementing her as the fan favorite once again. Jasmine, however, seized the opportunity. She reposted the leaked texts with a sly caption, "Once a frost, always a frost." The jab was obvious, reigniting her rivalry with Rashida. Fans were stunned, emotions ran high, and the family was divided yet again. Kirk, cornered by the backlash, finally reappeared with another shaky video. "Those texts old," he insisted. "They don't mean nothing. I meant what I said, I'm done." But his tired delivery didn't convince anyone. The comments roasted him mercilessly. "Bro, you've done every week. Retired but still texting side pieces. Just stay gone." The producers, sensing another gold mine, orchestrated one last explosive event, a charity gala where Rashida, Jasmine, and Kirk would all appear. The venue shimmered with chandeliers and velvet drapes, but beneath the glamour, tension coiled like a spring, ready to snap. Rashida arrived first, radiant in a sleek gown, her confidence undeniable. Jasmine followed soon after, dressed to kill, her smile sharp as a blade. And then Kirk entered, suit pressed but face weary, as if he knew the night would tear open wounds he'd never heal. The confrontation came quickly. Cameras circled as Rashida and Jasmine locked eyes across the room. Jasmine smirked, lifting a glass, still standing strong. "I see." Rashida raised her chin. "Always." The host of the gala tried to keep things civil, but producers whispered in earpieces, urging the drama on. Finally, Kirk stepped forward, his voice low but firm. "Y'all gotta stop this. I'm not worth it. I never was. I hurt both of you, and all I see now is 2 women fighting battles that should have ended with me." Jasmine scoffed. "Don't try to play savior now. You lit the fire. We just burned in it." Rashida's eyes glistened. "And now we rising from it. With or without you." The room fell silent, cameras zooming in as the weight of her words settled. Kirk lowered his gaze, the truth undeniable. He wasn't the center of their story anymore. They were. The gala ended with no fists, no screaming, just 3 lives unraveling in different directions. Jasmine leaving early, pride masking her heartbreak. Rashida staying until the last moment, shaking hands, standing tall, reclaiming her narrative. And Kirk, slipping out quietly, swallowed by the night, his legacy forever marked by the chaos he left behind. In the aftermath, fans flooded social media with theories, debates, and predictions. Some believed Jasmine would find a real fresh start, others thought she'd spiral again. Some begged Rashida to file divorce papers live on camera, crowning it the finale Atlanta deserved. And Kirk. Fans doubted he'd stay gone for long, but if he did, his silence would become its own legend. Emotions ran high, the family remained divided, and the world of love and hip-hop had been forever changed by one engagement, one retirement, and one woman finally choosing herself. But deep down, everyone knew the truth. In Atlanta, no ending is ever final. The next season, the next scandal, the next explosion is always waiting in the shadows. The charity gala should have been the ending. Kirk bowed his head, Rashida declared her strength, and Jasmine walked away clutching what little dignity she had left. But Atlanta doesn't let stories end clean. Every headline, every screenshot, every leaked message kept the fire alive. The morning after, gossip blogs exploded again. Someone had filmed Jasmine outside the gala, crying in the back seat of her car, her fiancé nowhere in sight. "I can't believe this is happening again," she sobbed into her phone. The clip went viral within minutes, fans arguing whether it was staged or raw truth. "She broke," one comment read. "This is her Rashida moment." Another replied, "Nah, Jasmine too calculated, this is strategy." Rashida, meanwhile, woke up to thousands of tags and mentions. Clips of her line, "Rings don't mean loyalty," had become the soundtrack of Atlanta overnight. Influencers used it, rappers quoted it, even fans stitched it into motivational videos. For the first time in years, Rashida wasn't trending as a woman scorn sheet, was trending as a woman reborn. She smiled faintly as she scrolled, but deep inside she knew the scars weren't erased. They just weren't visible anymore. Kirk remained silent. His phone buzzed constantly with missed calls, producer messages, and tabloid requests, but he ignored them all. Instead, he sat in his empty house, staring at old family photos. For the first time, the quiet didn't feel like peace, it felt like punishment. And maybe that was the point. Producers, desperate to close the season with a bang, called one last roundtable. No glam, no stage, just Kirk, Rashida, and Jasmine in a raw, unfiltered sit-down. The three of them sat in folding chairs in a bare studio, no music, no glitz, just silence, heavy and unbreakable. The host's voice cut the tension. "We've watched years of betrayal, heartbreak, and chaos between the three of you. Tonight, the fans want closure. Kirk, do you have any final words?" Kirk rubbed his face, his voice trembling. "I've said it before, but I'll say it again, I failed both of y'all. Jasmine, I pulled you into a life of promises I couldn't keep. Rashida, I dragged you through storms you didn't deserve. I thought walking away was peace, but now I see it was just cowardice. I can't fix the past, but I can admit the truth. Y'all deserved better." Rashida's eyes watered, but her voice was steady. "I waited years for you to say that. But words don't rebuild trust. I'm moving on, Kirk. I have to. For me, for my kids, for my future. I'm done letting your mistakes define me." Jasmine leaned forward, her voice cracking. "You don't get to apologize and vanish. You ruined me. You made me believe in something that was never real. You left me looking like a fool again and again. And now what? I'm just supposed to rise from the ashes." Rashida turned to her, calm but sharp. "You rise because you have no choice. I did it for years. Now it's your turn." The words hit Jasmine harder than any insult ever had. She looked down at her bare finger, the ring gone, her pride shattered. "Maybe this was the lesson," she whispered. The cameras captured every tear, every pause, every raw expression. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't staged, it was the most real moment the franchise had ever seen. When the episode aired, fans were floored. "This felt different," one tweeted, "like they finally dropped the act." Another wrote, "Rashida really the queen. Jasmine finally humbled. Kirk finally owned up." This is history. Hashtags exploded. Hashtag closure ATL. Hashtag final frost. Hashtag Queen RASHEEDA. Clips spread across platforms, millions of views pouring in. Love and Hip Hop had delivered one of the most unforgettable arcs in its history. Rashida's final confessional sealed the season. Sitting in her boutique, surrounded by racks of her clothing line, she looked directly into the camera. "I've been loyal. I've been broken. I've been humiliated. But I'm still here, stronger, wiser, and finally, free. My story doesn't end with Kirk or Jasmine, it begins with me." The screen faded to black, but the echoes lingered. Jasmine rebuilding from scratch. Kirk retreating into silence. Rashida rising into her own power. Fans cried, laughed, argued, and rewound the finale 1,000 times. Emotions ran high. The family was divided, and the legacy of Atlanta's messiest love triangle was cemented forever. But everyone knew the truth. Peace in this world never lasts. Another season, another scandal, another explosion waits in the shadows. Because in Love and Hip Hop, the story never ends. The finale sit-down was supposed to be the end of the saga, the final word in a story that had stretched across years of betrayal and heartbreak. But the truth is, endings don't exist in Atlanta. Even as the credits rolled, the streets buzzed, the blog stirred, and fans demanded more. The very next morning, new footage leaked from behind the scenes. A camera that had kept rolling after the sit-down captured Jasmine storming out of the studio, ripping off her mic and muttering, "I'll never let her win. Never." She paced the parking lot, tears streaking her face, before pulling out her phone and dialing furiously. "Pick up," she pleaded into the night air. "Please just pick up." Fans speculated she was calling her ex-fiancé, desperate to salvage what little remained of her engagement. The clip reignited the debate. Was Jasmine truly humbled, or was her pride still driving her every move? Rashida, meanwhile, finally filed paperwork that confirmed what fans had long suspected. She was officially moving her finances into her own name. A legal document leaked to the blogs showed her signature on separation forms tied to Kirk's business dealings. "She really done," one fan posted. "This ain't just talk." Others praised her resilience, queen energy, independent and unbothered. For the first time in decades, Rashida's identity wasn't attached to Kirk's name, it was hers alone. Kirk, however, found himself more isolated than ever. His silence had once been a shield, but now it felt like exile. When he stepped out in public, fans heckled him, retired from drama but not from lying. One shouted outside a restaurant. Kirk kept his head down, but the humiliation lingered. He posted a rare update to Instagram. A photo of an empty studio microphone with the caption, "Sometimes you gotta let the music play without you." Fans debated the meaning endlessly. Was it a metaphor for his retirement, or a hint at a comeback? Jasmine refused to fade quietly. Weeks later, she re-emerged on social media with a brand new look: short, blonde hair, minimalist fashion, a softer tone. "Rebirth," she captioned a series of photos. The comments section exploded. Some applauded her reinvention. "She looks fresh, like she finally letting go." Others weren't convinced. A new wig doesn't erase old mistakes. Still, the attention proved Jasmine wasn't done. She knew how to keep her name alive, even if her personal life lay in ruins. Producers capitalized on the momentum, planning a special reunion event with the entire cast. This wasn't a normal season, closer it was a raw documentary-style recap of the fallout. Designed to answer lingering questions, clips teased Rashida walking through her boutique with lawyers, Jasmine sitting in therapy for the first time, and Kirk in his empty house, staring at old photos. Fans braced for another emotional storm. When the special aired, it delivered. Rashida admitted on camera, "I'm not just leaving a marriage. I'm leaving a cycle. I gave years of my life to a man who couldn't give me loyalty, but now, I'm giving those years back to myself." Her words struck deep, sparking an outpouring of support across social media. #RashidaReborn trended for days. Jasmine's therapy session, however, painted her in a new light. For the first time, she broke down completely. "I wanted to hurt her," she confessed, sobbing. "I wanted Rashida to feel what I felt, to know the pain. But in trying to destroy her, I destroyed myself." The raw vulnerability shocked fans who had only seen Jasmine as defiant and smug. Suddenly, sympathy trickled back her way. "She finally being real," one viewer tweeted. "Maybe she can change." And Kirk, his confession was the heaviest of all. Sitting in his dimly lit house, he admitted, "When I walked away, I thought I was choosing peace. But the truth is, I was running. From my mistakes. From my guilt. From myself. I don't know who I am without the drama." And maybe that's the saddest part. Fans were stunned. "For once, Kirk ain't lying," one wrote. "He really broke and." Others mocked him. Too little, too late. Either way, his vulnerability made the special one of the most talked about episodes in franchise history. The climax of the documentary came when producers surprised the cast with fan questions. One fan asked Rashida directly, "If Kirk begged you to come back, would you?" She didn't hesitate. "No," she said firmly. "My future doesn't include looking backward." The audience erupted in applause, cementing her as the season's true victor. Jasmine was asked if she regretted flaunting her engagement to hurt Rashida. She paused, eyes watering, then whispered, yes. It was the first time she had admitted regret on camera, and the moment shook the fanbase. Growth, some said. Too late, others replied. When Kirk was asked if he would ever return to Love and Hip Hop, he gave the most cryptic answer of all. Never say never. The crowd gasped, the internet buzzed, and speculation roared louder than ever. Was this retirement truly final, or just another pause before the next scandal? As the credits rolled, the camera lingered on each of them. Rashida, standing strong in her boutique. Jasmine staring out of a car window. Kirk walking alone down a quiet Atlanta street. No words, just silence and shadows. Fans erupted online, emotions running wild. Best season ever. This felt too real. I cried for Rashida. I felt Jasmine's pain, and I even believed Kirk for a second. The family was still divided, but the story had evolved beyond scandal. It had become a saga of survival. And yet, deep down, everyone knew the truth. Atlanta never sleeps. Today's closure is tomorrow's scandal, and peace is only ever the pause before the next explosion. The documentary special left Atlanta in a state of uneasy silence. For weeks, fans re-watched the raw confessions, dissected every frame, and argued over every word. Rashida's rebirth, Jasmine's regret, and Kirk's cryptic "never say never" became cultural talking points far beyond the franchise. But silence in this city is never permanent. It is only a pause, a shallow breath before the next explosion. Rashida threw herself fully into her businesses. Press Adel thrived, her clothing line expanded, and new investors began circling around her brand. Magazines celebrated her as an entrepreneur who rose above scandal. Her interviews were calm, composed, and polished. But in quieter moments, doubt lingered. Was her strength real, or just a mask? Late at night, she scrolled through old photos of her and Kirk, torn between pride in her independence and grief over decades lost. In one unguarded confessional, she admitted, "I feel free, but I also feel empty." It's strange when the chaos you hated becomes the silence you don't know how to live without. Jasmine, on the other hand, attempted a full reinvention. She joined wellness retreats, posted pictures of meditation and journaling, and captioned her posts with phrases like "healing is messy but worth it." At first, fans mocked her. "Girl, you was just crying in a car 2 weeks ago," but slowly, sympathy began to return. Her therapy sessions aired in extended clips, showing her vulnerability in ways viewers had never seen. "I hated Rashida because she reminded me of what I couldn't have: stability, respect, family," Jasmine confessed through tears. "But the truth is, I hated myself more." The honesty stunned fans, who began to soften toward her. Hashtags like #JasmineHeals and #NewChapter trended, though skeptics still doubted her sincerity. Kirk's silence became its own storyline. Paparazzi spotted him jogging alone, eating at diners, even sitting in church pews, head bowed. Blogs speculated endlessly. Had Kirk truly left the spotlight, or was he plotting another return? When he finally broke his silence in an interview with a local Atlanta station, the city held its breath. "People think I thrived on drama," Kirk said, his voice slow and tired. "But the truth is, the drama thrived on me. I led it, I created it, and now I'm trying to learn who I am without it." The interviewer pressed, "And what about Rashida? What about Jasmine?" Kirk's eyes dropped. "They both deserved better than me. Maybe the best thing I can do is finally step aside and stay there." The interview went viral, sparking debates. Some praised his humility, others mocked his timing. "Apologizing after 20 years ain't noble. It's late," one fan tweeted. Another countered, "At least he finally admitted it." Rolled, the streets buzzed, the blogs stirred, and fans demanded more. The very next morning, new footage leaked from behind the scenes. A camera that had kept rolling after the sit-down captured Jasmine storming out of the studio, ripping off her mic and muttering, "I'll never let her win. Never." She paced the parking lot, tears streaking her face, before pulling out her phone and dialing furiously. "Pick up," she pleaded into the night air. "Please just pick up." Fans speculated she was calling her ex, fiancé, desperate to salvage what little remained of her engagement. The clip reignited the debate. Was Jasmine truly humbled, or was her pride still driving her every move? Rashida, meanwhile, finally filed paperwork that confirmed what fans had long suspected. She was officially moving her finances into her own name. A legal document leaked to the blogs showed her signature on separation forms tied to Kirk's business dealings. "She really done," one fan posted. "This ain't just talk." Others praised her resilience, queen energy, independent and unbothered. For the first time in decades, Rashida's identity wasn't attached to Kirk's name, it was hers alone. Kirk, however, found himself more isolated than ever. His silence had once been a shield, but now it felt like exile. When he stepped out in public, fans heckled him, retired from drama but not from lying. One shouted outside a restaurant. Kirk kept his head down, but the humiliation lingered. He posted a rare update to Instagram. A photo of an empty studio microphone with the caption, "Sometimes you gotta let the music play without you." Fans debated the meaning endlessly. Was it a metaphor for his retirement, or a hint at a comeback? Jasmine refused to fade quietly. Weeks later, she re-emerged on social media with a brand new look: short, blonde hair, minimalist fashion, a softer tone. Rebirth, she captioned a series of photos. The comments section exploded. Some applauded her reinvention. She looks fresh, like she finally letting go. Others weren't convinced. A new wig doesn't erase old mistakes. Still, the attention proved Jasmine wasn't done. She knew how to keep her name alive, even if her personal life lay in ruins. Producers capitalized on the momentum, planning a special reunion event with the entire cast. This wasn't a normal season, closer it was a raw documentary-style recap of the fallout. Designed to answer lingering questions, clips teased Rashida walking through her boutique with lawyers, Jasmine sitting in therapy for the first time, and Kirk in his empty house, staring at old photos. Fans braced for another emotional storm. When the special aired, it delivered. Rashida admitted on camera, "I'm not just leaving a marriage. I'm leaving a cycle. I gave years of my life to a man who couldn't give me loyalty, but now, I'm giving those years back to myself." Her words struck deep, sparking an outpouring of support across social media. #RashidaReborn trended for days. Jasmine's therapy session, however, painted her in a new light. For the first time, she broke down completely. "I wanted to hurt her," she confessed, sobbing. "I wanted Rashida to feel what I felt, to know the pain. But in trying to destroy her, I destroyed myself." The raw vulnerability shocked fans who had only seen Jasmine as defiant and smug. Suddenly, sympathy trickled back her way. "She finally being real," one viewer tweeted. "Maybe she can change." And Kirk, his confession was the heaviest of all. Sitting in his dimly lit house, he admitted, "When I walked away, I thought I was choosing peace. But the truth is, I was running. From my mistakes. From my guilt. From myself. I don't know who I am without the drama." And maybe that's the saddest part. Fans were stunned. "For once, Kirk ain't lying," one wrote. "He really broken." Others mocked him. "Too little, too late." Either way, his vulnerability made the special one of the most talked about episodes in franchise history. The climax of the documentary came when producers surprised the cast with fan questions. One fan asked Rashida directly, "If Kirk begged you to come back, would you?" She didn't hesitate. "No," she said firmly. "My future doesn't include looking backward." The audience erupted in applause, cementing her as the season's true victor. Jasmine was asked if she regretted flaunting her engagement to hurt Rashida. She paused, eyes watering, then whispered, "Yes." It was the first time she had admitted regret on camera, and the moment shook the fanbase. Growth, some said. Too late, others replied. When Kirk was asked if he would ever return to Love and Hip Hop, he gave the most cryptic answer of all. Never say never. The crowd gasped, the internet buzzed, and speculation roared louder than ever. Was this retirement truly final, or just another pause before the next scandal? As the credits rolled, the camera lingered on each of them: Rashida, standing strong in her boutique, Jasmine staring out of a car window, Kirk walking alone down a quiet Atlanta street. No words, just silence and shadows. Fans erupted online, emotions running wild. "Best season ever. This felt too real. I cried for Rashida. I felt Jasmine's pain, and I even believed Kirk for a second." The family was still divided, but the story had evolved beyond scandal. It had become a saga of survival. And yet, deep down, everyone knew the truth. Atlanta never sleeps. Today's closure is tomorrow's scandal, and peace is only ever the pause before the next explosion. The documentary special left Atlanta in a state of uneasy silence. For weeks, fans re-watched the raw confessions, dissected every frame, and argued over every word. Rashida's rebirth, Jasmine's regret, and Kirk's cryptic "never say never" became cultural talking points far beyond the franchise. But silence in this city is never permanent. It is only a pause, a shallow breath before the next explosion. Rashida threw herself fully into her businesses. Press Adel thrived, her clothing line expanded, and new investors began circling around her brand. Magazines celebrated her as an entrepreneur who rose above scandal. Her interviews were calm, composed, and polished. But in quieter moments, Doubt lingered. Was her strength real, or just a mask? Late at night, she scrolled through old photos of her and Kirk, torn between pride in her independence and grief over decades lost. In one unguarded confessional, she admitted, "I feel free, but I also feel empty." It's strange when the chaos you hated becomes the silence you don't know how to live without. Jasmine, on the other hand, attempted a full reinvention. She joined wellness retreats, posted pictures of meditation and journaling, and captioned her posts with phrases like "healing is messy but worth it." At first, fans mocked her. "Girl, you was just crying in a car 2 weeks ago," but slowly, sympathy began to return. Her therapy sessions aired in extended clips, showing her vulnerability in ways viewers had never seen. "I hated Rashida because she reminded me of what I couldn't have: stability, respect, family," Jasmine confessed through tears. "But the truth is, I hated myself more." The honesty stunned fans, who began to soften toward her. Hashtags like #JasmineHeals and #NewChapter trended, though skeptics still doubted her sincerity. Kirk's silence became its own storyline. Paparazzi spotted him jogging alone, eating at diners, even sitting in church pews, head bowed. Blogs speculated endlessly. Had Kirk truly left the spotlight, or was he plotting another return? When he finally broke his silence in an interview with a local Atlanta station, the city held its breath. "People think I thrived on drama," Kirk said, his voice slow and tired. "But the truth is, the drama thrived on me. I led it, I created it, and now I'm trying to learn who I am without it." The interviewer pressed, "And what about Rashida? What about Jasmine?" Kirk's eyes dropped. "They both deserved better than me. Maybe the best thing I can do is finally step aside and stay there." The interview went viral, sparking debates. Some praised his humility, others mocked his timing. "Apologizing after 20 years ain't noble. It's late," one fan tweeted. Another countered, "At least he finally admitted it. Most men never do." The producers, sensing unfinished business, planned one last gathering, not for cameras, not for spectacle, but for truth. They arranged a private retreat for Kirk, Rashida, and Jasmine in the Georgia mountains, far from Atlanta's flashing lights. No makeup teams, no glam squads, no crowds, just 3 people facing the wreckage of their choices. The retreat began in silence. The trio sat around a fire pit, the crackling flames louder than their voices. Rashida stared into the fire, arms folded. Jasmine fiddled with her phone before finally tossing it aside. Kirk rubbed his hands together, his eyes heavy with exhaustion. Finally, Rashida broke the silence. "You know what I realized? None of us ever won. We just kept losing, over and over, and calling it a game." Jasmine nodded slowly. "I thought I was winning every time I hurt you, but all I did was hurt myself worse." Kirk exhaled. "And I thought I could control everything by saying nothing. But my silence destroyed y'all, just as much as my lies did." The honesty stunned them all. For the first time, there were no insults, no games, just truth. As the retreat unfolded, walls began to crack. Rashida admitted the toll the marriage had taken. "I built businesses while my heart crumbled. I smiled on red carpets while my soul broke." Jasmine confessed her insecurities. "I chased validation because I didn't know how to love myself." Kirk was never really the prize, I just didn't know who I was without the chaos. Kirk, for once, listened more than he spoke. The breakthrough came on the final night, when they sat under the stars. Kirk finally said the words that hung unspoken for years. "Rashida, I love you. Jasmine, I care about you. But I don't deserve either of you. I wasted decades trying to be a man I wasn't. Maybe the best gift I can give both of you is letting go." Tears streamed down Rashida's face, but she nodded. Jasmine turned away, whispering, "That's all I ever wanted to hear." The retreat ended not with a bang, but with a quiet embrace. No cameras, no audience, just 3 people who had finally reached the end of their storm. When clips from the retreat later aired in a special episode, fans were stunned. It wasn't scandal, it wasn't spectacle, it was closure. For the first time, this felt real. One fan tweeted, "They actually healed." Another added, "This was bigger than TV. This was human." Rashida's star rose higher than ever. She was booked for speaking tours, brand deals, and magazine covers. Jasmine quietly launched a podcast about healing, surprising fans with her honesty and raw conversations. Kirk disappeared once again, this time with less noise, less speculation. The silence, for once, felt final. Atlanta exhaled. After years of betrayal, heartbreak, and chaos, the triangle had finally fractured into 3 separate paths. And though the scars remained, the war was over. But fans knew better than to expect permanent peace, because in love and hip-hop, Every ending is just the start of another messy, unforgettable beginning. So now you've seen it all. Jasmine standing on the edge of a fairy tale that shattered in her hands. Rashida, rising from the ashes, stronger than ever, carrying her crown with no apologies. And Kirk, the man who built his entire legacy on scandal, finally admitting that silence might be his only way out. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the family was left divided. But the real question is, what do you think happens next? Because let's be honest, in Atlanta there's no such thing as closure. Tonight, we watched the unthinkable. Jasmine, stripped of her pride, forced to face the same heartbreak she once weaponized. Rashida, walking tall, no longer defined by Kirk's betrayals, no longer carrying his chaos on her shoulders. And Kirk himself fading into the shadows, leaving behind decades of damage and unanswered questions. This was supposed to be the end, but you know better. I know better. The next storm is always one rumor, one screenshot, one slip-up away. So here's where you come in. I want to hear from you, the people who lived through this ride with us. Was Jasmine ever truly in love? Or was she just chasing power? Did Kirk really mean it when he said he's retiring from the drama? Or is this just another act before his next scandal? And most of all, do you believe Rashida has finally found the freedom she deserves? Or will loyalty drag her back into the same cycle she fought so hard to escape? Drop your answers in the comments right now, because trust me, your voice shapes the story as much as the cast does. And while you're down there typing, don't forget to smash that like button if you felt every tear, every fight, every twist in this saga. Liking the video tells me you want more secrets, more revelations, more raw truth from the messy world of love and hip-hop. Now, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I mean it, subscribe right now, because we're just getting started. This channel is the only place where the drama never sleeps. While other outlets give you the headlines, we give you the whole saga, the emotions, the betrayals, the family divides, the moments that keep you up at night wondering what's real and what's coming next. And believe me, the next scandal is already brewing. You don't want to miss it. Turn on those notifications too, because the next upload, it could drop at any moment. And when it does, you'll want to be the first one in the comments. The first one dissecting every second. The first one joining the conversation that everybody in Atlanta and everybody watching around the world will be talking about. Think about it. We've watched Jasmine cry in her car, Rashida declare her rebirth, and Kirk whisper confessions that shook the entire fan base. And yet, with all that, do you really believe this is the end? Or are we just standing on the edge of another season, another chapter, another storm waiting to break? I want you to comment your predictions below. Do you think Jasmine's so-called healing is real? Or will she fall into the same traps once the cameras start rolling again? Do you think Rashida's independence will last? Or will Kirk's shadows still haunt her even in freedom? And do you think Kirk's silence will hold? Or is he already plotting the perfect comeback? Your theories fuel this community, and I'll be reading every single one. Because at the end of the day, love and hip-hop is bigger than just the cast, it's all of us. It's the fans dissecting every screenshot, the viewers staying up late to watch lives, the people who argue in the comments because they care so much about what happens next. This story belongs to you as much as it belongs to them. So, one more time, like this video if you've been hooked from the first second to the last. Subscribe if you want front row seats to every twist still to come. And comment your thoughts, your predictions, your emotions. Was Jasmine the villain, or just another victim? Is Rashida the queen who finally got her crown, or will she face another battle before she can rest? And Kirk, has he really retired, or is he the man who will never stop haunting Atlanta no matter how far he runs? The answers aren't final. The story isn't finished. And you're part of it now. So buckle up, because the next chapter is always closer than you think.